In cognitive behavioral therapy, there are several tools that can help with health anxiety, and I have covered these in my other videos. But today I'm going to talk about what I consider the most powerful tool in the CBT toolbox, which is the behavioral experiment. People who suffer health anxiety get a lot of negative or catastrophic thoughts about their health, and they deal with these by constantly seeking reassurance, whether it be from Google, social media, or doctors, or just checking themselves for symptoms. These thoughts and behaviors are driven by mistaken beliefs. If you can change these beliefs, then the thoughts reduce, and so does the urge to seek reassurance or self-check. And the good news is that when these reduce, so do the physical symptoms. But changing beliefs is hard. Most people with health anxiety know deep down that their problem is anxiety, not physical, but can't seem to convince their anxious brains of this. That's because the part of the brain that deals with anxiety learns differently from the part of the brain that learns languages or mathematics. The anxious part of the brain learns from your behaviors and experiences. This is where the behavioral experiment comes in. Here are some examples of behavioral experiments for common beliefs in health anxiety. Brad spent many hours every day Googling symptoms and illnesses, sometimes related to symptoms that he had, or sometimes just because a random illness popped into his mind and he feared he might get it. This was driven by a belief that he needed to keep seeking medical information to alleviate his anxiety about his health, and to make sure that he did not miss any serious illness. His therapist asked him to predict what would happen if he stopped seeking medical information on the internet. Brad predicted that his anxiety would get worse if he could not keep Googling all things medical. He rated this belief 10 out of 10. Knowing it was hard to stop this habit, Brad's therapist suggested he tried reducing his Googling over the next month. Each day, he should write in his diary how many hours he spent Googling medical things, and what his anxiety level was at the end of each day from 1 to 100. At the end of the month, Brad and his therapist reviewed the diary, and noticed in the early stages of trying to reduce Googling, his anxiety increased, but as time went on, and he was able to Google less and less, his anxiety reduced significantly. Asked to re-rate his belief that he must Google to ease his anxiety about his health, Brad wrote 6 out of 10. Brad's therapist asked him to reflect on what he learned from the experience. Brad observed that a lot of the things that made him anxious were the things he found while researching medical issues, so it made sense to keep away from Google. He also agreed that not only had he not become seriously ill in this period of less Googling, but he actually had less physical symptoms. He agreed to extend the experiment for a further 2 months and see what happened. Another common belief in health anxiety is that you must keep checking yourself for symptoms. Mary often complained of a lump in her throat and difficulty swallowing, and was worried that she had throat cancer, or that she would choke to death, even though doctors had told her it was just an anxiety symptom. So she kept checking she could swallow to make sure she did not choke, and she would keep checking her neck for lumps. Her belief was that she had throat cancer and that the doctors were actually wrong. She rated this belief 9 out of 10. She predicted that if she did not keep checking she could swallow and checking for lumps, then it would get worse. Her therapist suggested the following experiment. Both Mary and her therapist would try to swallow 10 times in a row and report what they experienced. Both Mary and her therapist failed to reach 10 and reported a very uncomfortable, almost painful feeling in their throat. They also found it difficult to breathe, and Mary felt panicky. Mary was asked to reflect on what she had learned. She said that trying to swallow all the time may explain some of the feelings that she has in her throat. But what she also found interesting was when anxious about her throat, she often had problems breathing, which led to panic attacks. Now she realized that trying to swallow was the worst thing to do if she felt panicky. Asked to re-rate her belief that the symptoms were due to throat cancer, she wrote 7 out of 10, which was better, but still quite high. Her therapist suggested another experiment. Over the next 3 weeks, Mary would reduce checking her throat for lumps. Also, when the urge to check that she could swallow came, Mary would just breathe out and smile instead. Mary found it hard, but by the end of the 3 weeks, she was not touching her neck and was really trying to swallow. She found that her anxiety had reduced, and her belief that she had throat cancer was now only 4 out of 10. Behavioral experiments are best done with the guidance of a therapist trained in cognitive behavioral therapy. One experiment will not make all health anxiety instantly disappear, but over time, and combined with other CBT tools, They can change the beliefs that drive health anxiety. Eventually, you'll be able to make your own experiments to counter any new health anxieties that arise. And you'll find that your reassurance behaviours reduce, and so do the negative thoughts and the physical symptoms. For more tools and tips on health anxiety and other anxiety disorders, please subscribe to my channel. And also, please like and share so that others can benefit. The key to beating anxiety is knowledge. Let's share that knowledge.